Very good. Okay, this is our last presentation of day 3 of Boss Librarian and Friends Back to School PD. We are in for a treat. LiteracyNation is going to be our presenters today, and I'm just so happy to have them here. I want them to describe what they actually do because they are in the driver's seat, and you're really in for a treat today. And I wanted to say this on a personal note. It really meant a lot for me to be a council member and to be on the floor of the ALA Council and vote Literacy in as a brand new affiliate of the American Library Association. That was just a great feeling that I could actually vote for this organization. You're going to see how special they are. So I'm going to send the presenter's rights over to Charmaine, and joining Charmaine is Charmaine Ashby is her husband, Richard Ashby, and also one of their authors, which is Naomi Dunson White. So Charmaine, you should see presenter's rights.
Alrighty, we'll do.
Okay, and I'm going to drop off so I'm not a distraction.
Alrighty.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Richard Emmanuel Ashby Jr., and I am the president of LiteracyNation Incorporated. Just a little history about myself. I'm the past president of the New York State Black Librarians Caucus. I'm the past president of the Black Caucus of the American Library Association. I am the founder and current president of the Pennsylvania Library Association, and we are LiteracyNation. With me this afternoon is my beautiful wife, Charmaine Ashby. She's a co-founder of LiteracyNation, and also our vice president, Naomi Dunson White. She's also the owner of Naomi Books, and she's a prolific editor. So I want to just give you a little history about LiteracyNation. So LiteracyNation, oddly enough, started when I was fired. I was a librarian out on Long Island, and I had received my degree maybe 3 weeks earlier. And as things happened, I was fired, and I had to decide what I want to do with my life. And I decided, I had this dream about having a nonprofit to promote literacy, and I talked to Charmaine about it, and went to sleep one night, and God put in my heart, call the company LiteracyNation. And real quickly, if anybody, the first person that put into chat what our motto is, I'm gonna count to 10. If you could put into chat what our motto is, you'll receive a $50 gift card to one of our, I guess you say, favorite vendors of a bookstore, of a minority bookstore. Real quick, what is our motto? Oh my God. They did their homework. So we have, let's take the first four people and give them $25 gift card to the bookstore, and we'll take care of that later on. So, well, that was quick. And so our motto is with literacy and justice for all, because we truly believe that America tells our people with liberty and justice, but without literacy, you will receive no justice. So we started LiteracyNation. And then we went on and we got our 501c3. But before we got our 501c3, I had a vision. We had a vision. And I would go to different libraries and different daycare centers and different churches and hand out books, give out books for free. I wrote a grant for first books. If you know anything about first books, grants are like 3 sentences. And we received hundreds and hundreds of books from first book, and we would give them out. We would go down to Baltimore to the book thing and take trunks and suitcases and fill them full of books and give them out. One afternoon, I did a radio show, and the lady was outside the radio show waiting for me, and she heard what I said, and she gave us a building. And in this building was 12 rooms, and we put 5,000 books in the room. And from that, I came to work one day, and there was a hole in the wall, in the door. And my wife said, you have to move out of the building because it's too bad. And God said, you don't have to listen to her. Put the library on the sidewalk. So I took all the kids and I took all the books and the laptops and we went on the sidewalk. And when she came home that evening, she said, "Didn't I tell you to close the library up?" And I said, "But God said put it on the sidewalk." And she said, "Oh, so now you'll be called the Sidewalk Librarian." And that's the handle that stuck with me for a while. And so I worked at this library for about 1.5 years, made myself the director, became a solo librarian, and did all the work that the regular library would do in the library. But the only difference was you couldn't check out a book from our library. You have to take it and you have to keep it and pass it on. Became the director of a regular public library. And in that library, I saw something different. There were people coming into the library that wanted to put their books into the library. They were self-published authors. And the assistant director would always give them a collection and development policy, and the books couldn't go into the library. And that really bothered me. And as a director, I fought to get those policies changed. And then I changed libraries. I went up to the Stowe Rock Public Library, and the pandemic happened. And during the pandemic, this phenomenon happened. This online app called Clubhouse came about. And Casey's on it also. And we got on this Clubhouse app, and we found all these wonderful authors that were writing books. They were home during the pandemic. There were women and men home during the pandemic that was writing about their trauma, writing about their failures, writing about their successes, writing about their challenges. And I said, what's going to happen to all of these books? Where are they going to go? And so I said, okay, since I'm the director of this library, I think I'll change the collection and development policy where we can now accept independent authors' books. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's be truthful. Getting an independent author's book into the library is just like voting in Mississippi in 1954. It just ain't gonna happen. It's a struggle. And so we started putting books into the library, and we put over 1,000 books into the library. And there was one book we cataloged. We set out to be cataloged. It's called All Black Everything. And when it was cataloged, Chanel, the author, went to look for it in the WorldCat, and it was cataloged as All Black Everything. So I called the cataloger and I said, you didn't catalog the book right. It's called All Black Everything. And she said, there's no such word as everything, sir. It's everything. And I said, no, it's everything in the hood. It's everything in South Jamaica. It's everything in Detroit. It's everything in Chicago. Where you come from, it's everything, but it's everything. We're talking to a particular people, and she refused to change it. And I was so frustrated. And LiteracyNation, we were still taking in books, still cataloging books, but we found that the accessibility and the visibility of our books were not there, was not what we were looking for, because it was being cataloged by people who didn't understand the culture. So we purchased our own subscription to the WorldCat. And so now LiteracyNation, we catalog our own books. Our catalogers are called Indie Cats. Our catalogers are from Princeton University, Clemson University, Georgia State, and San Diego. We have some of the top people in the country cataloging our books into our own catalog, which are making them accessible and visible. So now we have this catalog, and we have this movement. See, LiteracyNation is not an organization, we're a movement. And so now what do we do with this movement? What do we do with this movement? Let's join the American Library Association. Now people say, you know what, Rich, it's gonna take a long time to join, to become a member of the American Library Association. It's gonna take maybe a year. But I tell everybody, you don't know the God I serve. We put our application in October, and we became members in January. Come on, folks. We became members in January. So now we are members, we are affiliate of the American Library Association. We have a front row seat at the American Library Association where we can show our books from our independent authors. Now, we're not just talking about books from Black folks. We have Hispanic, we have Asian Pacific, we have Chinese, we have all type of authors that are coming and joining LiteracyNation daily. And for that reason, because ALA made us affiliates so quickly, and because we have this opportunity to showcase our independent authors' books, our first thing that we did as the first program we did as an organization of the American Library Association, we held a readathon. Now, our readathons are our major fundraiser for our organization. But what we did, because we believe that God got us, we took our major fundraiser and we ran it at the American Library Association conference in Chicago, and we gave all the proceeds from that fundraiser to the Merit Foundation, which is the foundation or the fund that funds librarians when they are run out of town, fired, harassed because of having banned books on their shelves. Because we truly believe and we know that independent author books are banned books. Whether you want to admit it or not, independent authors are banned books. They have a negative connotation when you say independent authors. And so for that reason, we gave all of our funds to the American Library Association, and we are getting donations that we would never have gotten had we not done this. So real quickly, our books are vetted. We have our books vetted by librarians and educators to make sure there's no inconsistencies, there are no biases, and that the writing is correct, the editing is correct, and the typeset is correct, and the illustrations are representative of the people that they're supposed to be seeing, because books have to be representative of our young people. And so once these books have been vetted, we put the books into the WorldCat, we put the books into the library, we put them into the Stowe Rock Public Library, the Sharon Hill Public Library, and the Yaden Public Library. And we're working with someone in Texas right now to start taking to independent authors' books. And so our books are very well vetted. And we have beta readers, we have indie cats, and Literacy Nation is just a movement. And so we know that we're kicking down doors and we're opening up windows and we're polishing up mirrors for our independent authors. And so that's what Literacy Nation do. We do it with passion, and we truly believe in what our motto is, with literacy and justice for all. I'd like to introduce you all to my vice president, an author, an editor, and just an overall wonderful young lady, Naomi Dunstan White.
Thank you, Mr. Ashby, and thank you, Casey, for having us. As you heard, Literacy Nation, we are passionate about what we do. We are passionate about diversity and literacy. And as Mr. Ashby shared the history of the organization, there have been many steps along the way that has we've been blessed, we've made progress, and we're getting the exposure for independent authors that they deserve. One of the things that we do as we are progressing is that we consider the work of the experts and the educators who have gone before us and provided knowledge for us to continue this good work for literacy and diversity. One of the experts that we would like to share with you today is someone that you probably know, is Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop. So she is an expert in diverse children's literature, and she is lovingly known by some of her colleagues and students as the mother of multicultural or diverse children's literature. So let's take a moment and hear what Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop has to say, and then we'll discuss on the other side.
You may have to reshare it again and then click that little sound button so that we can hear her. So you might want to stop the share and then reshare it again and then click the sound button. In the lower right-hand corner, it should say sound on computer. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
We need diverse books because we need books in which children can find themselves, see reflections of themselves. I wrote a piece, maybe in 1990 it was published, which I called Mirrors, Windows, and Sliding Glass Doors. And I think that's really why children need to see themselves reflected, but books can also be windows, and so you can look through and see other worlds and see how they match up or don't match up to your own. But the sliding glass door allows you to enter that world as well. And so that's the reason that the diversity needs to go both ways. I mean, it's not just children who have been underrepresented and marginalized who need these books. It's also the children who always find their mirrors in the books and therefore get an exaggerated sense of their own self-worth and a false sense of what the world is like, because it's becoming more and more colorful and diverse as time goes on. So I think that's why.
So yes, we agree with Dr. Sims Bishop. The world is becoming more colorful and diverse, and our hearts and our passions are for the children who have been underrepresented, marginalized. But she made an important point. These books are not just for them, they're for all children, because we want diversity, inclusion, and unity to be the message that the children receive so that they can grow up, and that would be a message that is permeated, right, throughout this country. So our authors, because they believe in the mission of literacy and diversity for all, and because we understand how important it is that books are mirrors, windows, and doors for our children, our authors write with focus, and their focus aligns with our mission at Literacy Nation. So keeping in mind the importance of cultural authenticity, very important for children. It's not enough for them to just see the illustrations that have children with different skin tones, but the stories need to be culturally authentic. So diverse authors need to share diverse stories for diverse children. Accurate representation of diverse communities, that's very, very important. However well-meaning some people from other cultures may be, the person from that culture speaking to that culture is the best person to represent that story. We want our stories to be authentic. We want the books that we present to our children to be authentic representations of them and their cultures and communities. Positive portrayals, again, we want to make sure that the children don't just see themselves, but they see positivity. And that goes back to social emotional learning opportunities such as self-esteem, self-image, feelings of self-worth and belonging, and being a part of a community, unity, and working together. And then we have the non-stereotypical thoughts and depictions. And I will use this word again. Some people I am not criticizing harshly because they may be well-meaning by including children of color in their children's books. But often there is a bias that maybe they aren't even aware of. But those things can be hurtful to children and their families. So we want to make sure that our books are correct and that our books are positive and for the well-being of the children. So no non-stereotypical thoughts and depictions. And these are some of the things that our authors are taught about and advised about and guided at Literacy Nation, because we are a movement, we do have a mission, and we do have a purpose to make a difference in the community. And so our authors, our author members, because we do have members that are not authors, we represent them, but they turn around and they represent us well too. They believe in our mission and our motto, with literacy and justice for all, and it shows in their books. So there is a benefit to supporting our authors and having our authors' books in your libraries, in your classrooms, and in the communities. Some of those benefits are that the stories speak to the issues of today. And as some of our the previous speakers have already alluded to, there are issues that affect the communities directly related to books. It's just taking away freedom to read, freedom to learn. And so we have truth as the first example, diversity, inclusion, and unity. The books speak to the issues. And then school visits are a benefit. So we do have authors available that can come to your schools locally, or we can do visits virtually. You would be able to, if you live in Michigan, for example, you would be able to search for an author in Michigan if you wanted an in-person visit, or virtual visits. We have authors that are represented all throughout the country. And then lesson plans are often included with some of our books. They are Common Core or creative lesson plans, but these are resources for the teachers. The lesson plans expand on standards and SEL competencies. This is something that Mr. Ashby speaks about often, is the need to not just educate the children and entertain the children with the books, but also to make sure that we're speaking to their emotional and social well-being. We have grade level group class activities and individual worksheets that go with some of our books, spelling and vocabulary lists, always checking for grade level appropriateness, matching coloring books and activity books. And we do grant permission for the teachers and the librarians to duplicate these resources. So with all that being said, at LiteracyNation, we are proud to support these authors, and we believe that by what we're doing, by promoting these authors and representing these authors and giving them exposure to you, and we believe by connecting with teachers in schools, librarians in libraries, and the students, the families, and the patrons of the communities that we all serve, that LiteracyNation will indeed make a difference in this country and in this world. Thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce you to our treasurer and our co-founder, Charmaine Ashby.
Well, so we're talking about diversity in children's books. And as you can see from this slide, from a study that was done at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, you can see the disparity of African-American children in as main characters in works versus white children, or even animals or other. And it's not just African-American children. You see the same or even a greater disparity with indigenous people, Asian people, Latinx people. So there is a need. We are really, as my husband said earlier, we are a movement. There is a need to get more work, more authors' work out there in libraries, in schools, so that as we've already stated, the children can see themselves, and that there's not this sense that they don't exist. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see some of the reactions of the little girls when they saw African-American Little Mermaid. It was astounding to see the reactions of just their expressions, 6 and 7 years old, in total disbelief that there was a little mermaid with the kind of hair that she had, and just the I don't know, the awe that these children experienced. And there's just so much more for our children to experience and to learn about themselves and about the world around them. But we believe at LiteracyNation, it's going to take this movement in helping independent authors get their works out there, become accessible, and become more visible for our children and all children to experience the kind of changes that are positive and are necessary for growth. One of the things that a company called World's Rated kind of found out, and what they are is an international research, data, and analytical group focusing on reading, books, authors, and the publishing industry. And I think it was as of 2021, they started seeing, or 2021, yes, they started seeing a decrease in Black characters in children's bestsellers as the Black Lives Matter movement started to kind of fade or dissipate in some ways. There was also a correlation with a decrease of African-American children as main characters in bestsellers. There was also a decrease in African-American authors, and there has been a steady decline. As of 2022, only 12.12% of children's books are about Black or African-American characters. Only 7.6% of children's books are written by Black or African-American authors. And they have another statistic. They're saying that for every author who is one book that an author writes who is white, it takes 3.5 African-American books to be written by bestsellers. Now, what we're saying at Literacy Nation is those numbers are probably a little off because independent authors are having a really tough time become accessible. I like these words that we use, accessible and visible. And what we do is try to help them obtain accessibility and visibility. But guess what, guys? You already know it's not just a Black and white thing. We have an author who works with us. Her name is Phyllis Layden Alexander. Her grandson is paraplegic from birth, and her books are about him. And so and these are all true stories about all the wonderful things. His name is Noah. All the wonderful things that Noah is doing. Her first book was written in 2021, different but the same. And that book was basically to help children who are not disabled understand and appreciate that even though children are disabled, it doesn't make them monsters. It doesn't make them someone that can't be understood, but it makes them just a little different, but they're still the same. And then her next book was called Noah Goes to Camp. And boy, the things Noah did in this camp, some of us haven't done. He did mountain climbing. He did zip lining. He did a lot of wonderful, wonderful things that would be exciting to readers. And then her final book is, can you imagine? Noah becomes a junior ranger. So she is a awesome author. She has a passion about getting her work out concerning her grandson, and not just her grandson, but children who are disabled, and having other children understand and appreciate those differences. She is just one of many authors that we have, that we promote, that we help. She was one of the first books that we got into the Sto Rox Public Library. She's out of Pittsburgh herself. And also one of the first books that we cataloged as an organization. So we're also looking for beta readers. We want to put that out there. We're looking for beta readers. We have beta readers. We have, which has already been mentioned, we have a wonderful group of catalogers who we call indie cats. We have preferred vendors like Naomi, who is with us, who edits books for us. So we're not just trying to put anything out there, but we want the best of the best, and we want our independent authors to be the best of the best. And where doors are closed for them in certain arenas, certain platforms, it is our goal to try to open those doors. We took independent authors to the Joint Council of Librarians of Color in February, and we had a wonderful response. We took authors also to the Black Caucus, one of the Black Caucus's conferences in Tulsa, yes. What this did for them was give them a platform to be able to interact with other librarians, authors who weren't a part of our particular group, and to get their name out there. And so these are the kinds of things and the kind of work that we are doing. And again, we call ourselves a movement. We believe that independent authors have a voice, they have a right to be heard, and it is our aim to help them be heard. So in summary, we bridge the gap between independent authors and libraries. We have independent catalogers making books visible and accessible through the WorldCat. We offer book launches in person, virtually, and or hybrid. We offer national exposure through exhibits, presentations, and networking. And this is the work that we as an organization are doing with independent authors. Thank you so much for allowing us to be with you this evening now. And thank you, KC, for this platform that you provided for us. And we want to open up the floor for any questions if you have them.
Yes, and thank you very much. And you have a couple of questions that are in the chat. So let me go in here. Not the chat, but the Q&A, excuse me. The first question is, first comment is, thank you very much. They enjoyed the presentation. The second is, what grade levels do your books go up to?
Repeat that question.
Yeah, what grade levels generally are you guys supporting with the authors? Is it
all grade levels?
All grade levels, okay. So K through 12th grade. The second question I see in the Q&A is, how do you become a beta reader?
Write to us at contact@literacynationinc.org. And we're looking for beta readers. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe somebody could put it in the chat. That would be helpful because we could grab it. And we'll also have like a one pager that we're giving out to all attendees. So if you have any additional links, you could easily incorporate that information in that as well. Let's see. I just wanted to remind everyone that, let's see. You were honoring the first 4 or first 5 people that came in the chat. First 4. Okay, for the first 4 I see is Leslie Jones, I believe, Katrina Donovan, Jennifer Ree, and Megan Casey.
Okay, they can all email us at that contact, and I'll try to check my email. No, we'll check our email, and we'll coordinate your coupon with the bookstore.
Yeah, so that's Leslie Jones, Katrina Donovan, Jennifer Ree, and Megan Casey. And listen, don't worry about it. If you don't catch the email, so you can send it to me and I will push it off to the Ashbys so they will, be sure and get in contact with you. So were there any other questions that anyone had? Oh, the chat I haven't looked at it in a while. A lot of people just saying thank you. They really enjoyed your presentation. And I want you all to please give the Ashbys, Naomi Dunson White, some love in the chat. Give them a heart, give them some applause. Go on social media, please share that information as well, and just say, hey, we're happy that you're here. We're happy that you're an affiliate of ALA. And most importantly is that you're going to be able to help school librarians. Because school librarians have always been looking for someone that can support them, because we do have a number of school librarians that have become authors. We had one on yesterday, and that was, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. We had an author on yesterday that spoke that is an author, and she was a former school librarian. So my thing is that if you're looking to get that support, this is the organization that will support you and help you, get your book published. Thank you, Jean. Alice Faye Duncan. How can I forget that presentation she made? But
Casey,
it's been a long day.
Casey, yes. Before we go, we would just like to thank you for your unwavering support. Not only you're a librarian, but you're like a very good friend of ours, and we text and call each other all day. I'm just so proud of you and what you've done for the last couple of days, and you still have another day to go. When they said you couldn't, you said watch me, And I am so proud of you. You are doing wonderful work, and you're sticking up and you're standing up for school librarians who are who might as well be another group of people who are being marginalized, you know, added to the list. But you and your colleagues and your Clubhouse gang, I call it a gang because you're a gang, you're gangbusters. You all are doing some wonderful things, and I am just so proud of you.
Well, let me just say this. We are not a dying breed. I've always wanted to do something like this where we try and support our school librarians, not just at the state level, but across the country. I tried to do it with other organizations and I got kind of pushed to the side. So sometimes when you try and go through a third party, sometimes it's best that you just do it yourself. And you always will find someone along the ride that will share your vision and will support you. And that's why that we're in year 2 of this with sponsorship. So I want to thank each and every one of you all for being here today. The Ashbys, Naomi Dunstan White, thank you for the generous donation of gifts during the presentation. It's so much appreciated. Tomorrow we have our very last day of presentations. It starts again at 9:45 in the morning, and we go all the way to the end of the day with the School Librarian of the Year, Julie Stivers, and the graphic manga queen, Ashley Hawkins. So we have a lot of great presentations coming in tomorrow. So please be sure to come in and join us. So thank you once again, Literacy Nation. We love y'all.
You too, Casey.
Yeah.